Hello, it is I. If you have watched my video on the topic of all the Tintin comics I own specifically, you will know that I wanted to make this video before. A good while before, in fact. However, I made that video and fully forgot that was something I wanted to do. You know, as one does. I am gonna make that video now because why not? I will show you all the comic books that I own currently. I swear to God, I am not ignoring certain tasks that I should be doing instead. Alright, before I explain and show all my comics, I will show 3 other books that I wanted to show. One of them was in that previous video about the Tintin comics, and another one is, no, other 2 are something I would classify something as something in between the 2, as like a book, but it can also be put in a comic format if you really want to look at it that way. And another thing that I really want to specify is the distinction between what is a graphic novel and what is a comic book, because that's something up for debate. I'm not sure why, but from my research that I've done beforehand, I have come to the conclusion that a comic and a graphic novel are basically the same thing from an artistic point of view. The only distinction is that they are different literary genres. Like, they're specifically literary genres and not artistic genres. Essentially, a comic book can be like comic strips that are published not all together all at once, for example, like Garfield or something like that. And a graphic novel is something that is published as like one whole thing immediately. And they have their own like differences in stories, but then again, those differences don't always like track because this is all very, very complicated. If you look at the definition of a graphic novel, you could argue that a fully published Tintin album would count as a graphic novel, but it's usually put in the category of comic because it was published by published in like the smaller chunks, but the story style is more akin to a graphic novel. It's all a lot, and all these words don't really mean anything, so I tend to like use them interchangeably. I usually tend to use the word comic more often than graphic novel. So there's that. The 3 books that I wanted to show beforehand. Okay, I'm gonna be lifting them off the floor because if I put them on my bed over here, you're gonna see them. If I put them over here, you're gonna see them. And you may also notice over there, I have an empty shelf. That's where all of them were beforehand. I removed them and put them on the floor so I can, reach them easier. First thing I wanted to show was this book. This book's amazing. Comics, 1964 to 2024. Amazing resource. Anybody who's interested in comics, read it if you can. Sure, it costs like 45 euros, but also, it's huge. It has like actual comics in it. It's printed in tiny text, and like this thing's amazing. So also Barbarella. This book's really good. This is a really good resource. I definitely recommend reading it if you can. And now the 2 that I want to that I keep with my comics that technically aren't. So the first one's Book of Bill, for obvious reasons. It's technically, like it's a book, but it's like it's very, very visual in its portrayal. Like yes, you can read it, but also like it's not really like a book. It's, whatever the fuck that is. So I keep it with all my comics. It's not technically a comic, but I keep it there anyways because whatever. And also it's quite entertaining as is. And the second one is Kurbats. This one's a lot more like a comic than the Book of Bill. It's very visual, it's got all this stuff, and also whoever is responsible for the app, please fix it. Please fix it, because I would love to have the full interactive experience with this book, but the app doesn't work. So, like, what the fuck? Okay, so those are the 3 books that I wanted to mention beforehand, and we'll put them over there because I don't know. I don't want to get up. The first book I'm gonna show you is Pief Piedzīvojumi, The Adventures of Pief. I used to have this when I was a very little kid. The cover was all torn to shit, and I don't know where it ended up going because we don't have it anymore, but I ended up buying a new copy because it's fucking Pief. We love Piefs. You could argue if it's a comic or not, but I'm keeping it in the comic category. I don't know the entire history of Piefs. All that I've heard is that it was created by a communist group in France way back whenever. I don't actually know when. Let me check. I haven't done my research on this as heavily as I have on Tintin because, of course. Wow, it doesn't even say. That's interesting. But yes, so we're keeping this because Piefs is a cultural icon. Fun fact, in the Latvian Puppet Theater, if you go there for a play and the bell rings, the bell chime is actually the theme from the Puppet Theater play Un atkal Piefs, which I think is really, really fun. And also, I like that play. I love the music in it, and also it's so interesting to think about, but that's already moving away from this comic. A comic that I have actually read is this one, Asterix in the Olympic Games. This one was fun. This one's translated, that's why I got it. It was in like an actual physical bookstore. I'm more likely to buy a comic if it's like physically in the bookstore. I haven't actually bought a comic online before. So this was a fun find, and it was fun. It was quite fun. I like Asterix. I find I've seen some of the cartoons. The newer one, that one was really, really good. The first one that was made, Asterix and the Gauls, I think, something like that. That one was really fun too. I just I love these characters. I think they're so fun, and also the art style is like so dynamic. It's really cool. Um like compared to Tintin, there's just so much. It's a lot more detailed in the character department, and also like the movement is like more, like, as you can see here, like there's like movement lines and stuff that makes the movement a lot more dynamic, unlike Urjay's art. But like at the same time, it gets like it's a lot more busy. And another thing about the Asterix comics, at least this one, is that this is definitely geared towards more of a younger audience. I feel it's just it's a little more juvenile, but it's still fun. I still enjoyed it, so I'm glad I have this in my possession. Oh, what else? We have the Neuro comic. I got this at a thrift store for $4. I don't believe I would have gotten it in any other context, but this one's pretty fun. Also, my psychology teacher approved of it, so that's fun. It is basically explaining like different processes in the brain and like different things. There's also the main character is led through his brain by different psychologists and psychiatrists and people who did like people who like made discoveries on the topic. Actually, me and my teacher had the same reaction when we first read this comic, where the main character first appears inside the brain, and This character is the first that he meets, and we both thought that was Sigmund Freud, but I feel like we both had like very different reactions. I was like, oh god, not Sigmund Freud, and she was like, oh, that it would make more sense because like he was like he discovered like psychotherapy and shit, I believe. Not discovered, came up with psychotherapy, and like, yeah, I guess so, but also I don't like Sigmund Freud, so I don't want him in my comics. But it wasn't Sigmund Freud, it was someone else. Who I don't remember who it was. The art's all right. It is fun enough. It's good in its educational value. But here's the topic that I'm gonna come to right now. In my mind, there are two kinds of comics: the comics that are comics because of the art, and the ones that are for the writing. And both are valid forms, but I prefer the ones that are more for the art because they're just visually more interesting. The writing ones, those are fine. Those are whatever, but they don't move me. A lot of the times I feel like the writing comics are more soulless in the art. They're more like, oh, we decided to write a comic, so we're just going to have some art. And like this can depend on the person naturally, but for myself, I feel like this comic specifically is more into the we wanted to write something instead of we wanted to express a story through drawing, which is fine. And like it's very difficult to explain which one's which because a lot also the the front cover is gilded and just so pretty. But like it's very hard to explain which category is which sometimes because it's very, very subjective. For myself, the art doesn't have to be good, but it must feel like a person really cared about making it. But, like, for example, this one where it's like very. It's good, but it's like very basic. It's like caricature style, which is fine, but like, I don't know. Uh, it just like it looks fine. It doesn't look bad at all, but like it just lacks a little bit of that soul, which I would rather have in a comic. But this one's still good, so I don't have any complaints about that. Okay, let's move on. A person with a lot of style. This one's definitely in the category of for the art, and the writing's still good, but this one's like really, really good art. Kinderland by Mavils. This is I used this in one of my school projects that I ended up presenting later on. So yes, this comic's really good. I really, really like it. The art style is actually the thing that got me to buy it because it was like 20 something euros. Comics are really fucking expensive. I looked at it and I thought, fuck, that's pretty. It's so dynamic and so fun. Like, hold on. The first pages are really, really good as well. Like this is incredible. And the story itself, a it's about a German kid who lives in Eastern Berlin, and how they him and his classmates are trying to organize a ping pong tournament because it just be like that. And one thing that I mentioned to my grandfather of all people was that I really like this comic because it doesn't make the Soviet government the main character of the comic and the other characters is just like exposition for it. It's just like the main characters want to do their own thing, but it's in the background until it comes more to the foreground and then it goes back. It's not the main plot. And I really like that. And sure, the characters are fine. I don't have much to say about the characters themselves. I find them as a good vehicle for the story that needs to be told through this book. They're good for that, and also they do elicit emotion, I feel, like at the end when Mirko finds goes to see Torstens in his apartment and they're like having their own little conversation and then they have to go to the hospital. Like yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty that evokes emotion, but also I'm like a very emotional person, so maybe that's like not maybe I'm not the best person to ask about this. The art's really good, the story is great, it's a very good timepiece. My history teacher approved of this one as well, so you know, note that. And on the topic of my history teacher approved this, Mouse by Art Spiegelman. Oh my god. This thing is heavy, but also really good. I gave my history teacher 3 comics. I gave her Kinderland, Mouse, and the first the first and the third Tintin comics because they're in the one volume. I was more gearing towards the Tintin in the Land of the Soviets. So there's that, but that's besides the point. This one was her favorite, and I understand why. The characters are very well defined. The story is really well told. It handles a lot of different questions that pertain to the topic of World War II, and the art is beautiful. Like oh my goodness, this is like the combined. These are all the as it says on the cover, the complete mouse. Um, it was published in multiple parts, and this is the full thing. And every chapter, I guess you could say, start has like a little poster type thing, and these posters are beautiful. I would love to have them on my wall, like genuinely, they're beautiful. Like, look at this, look at this, look at that. That's beautiful. It's just so gorgeous, and it's so and the caricatures are so simple, and the page looks really busy, but it's really good. The characters are simple, but the with the use of texture and the simplicity of it all is like great. It's it. Okay, let me share a gripe. There's a spectrum of character design. The very very simple, and then the Genshin Impact character. No, but like overly designed. Too much shit going on. I genuinely don't understand how the Genshin Impact animators haven't quit with the designs that they have to work with. It's insane. But that's besides the point. I'm more leaning towards the simple. As you can tell with my insane obsession with Tintin, it's that the style is very simple, clear, and defined. This is more leaning towards that, with the exception of the texture. And I really like that. I like when things are very clear, defined, simple, but very, very full of character and also recognizable. I feel like that is the best sign of a well-designed character, is that they're simple, but you can still tell them apart from the rest. Mouse artistically is very good. And also some of these panels are just like incredible. Like, look at that. Look at that. Isn't that just absolutely beautiful? And yeah, I feel like this is a really good comic to share the events, to share a certain person's family history with the topic. And yeah, it's just this is a really really good book, and I feel like everybody should read it. Coraline. It's fine. Out of all the comics that I own, I feel like this one might be actually my least favorite, but not because it's bad, but because it's mediocre. I feel like the art is leaning towards the we just needed to pump something out. I feel horrible saying this about another artist, but it does feel rather soulless. And yeah, I believe I got it only because it was on sale and before I knew about the Neil Gaiman situation. Um Yippee. Okay. I keep saying the art looks fine, and I don't want to say this, but I have to. A lot of it is plain ugly. It just looks bad. What is this? What is this? And I don't want to give it away because I paid money for this, and also I quite like having a big comics collection, so I don't want to give it away. But also, fuck it, what do I know? See, this last panel, this one's nice. At least it ends pretty, and the cover is alright, but also, it's just nothing. It also, but one thing that I can give it is that it illustrates the part where the other father is in the basement, and that part's really well done, if I remember right. Like, you'll get panels like this, which look really nice. Like, this looks alright, and then you get this right next to it, and it just, oh, P. Craig Russell, I'm sorry to say this, but oh god. You need to work on your um skills. I can see you're really good at drawing backgrounds, but character faces and stuff, you need to figure that out. And like, yeah, here's the scene where the other dad's in the basement, and like, that one's good. That one's good. That one's pretty well done. And I don't have anything to complain about that. But otherwise, this one's it exists, and that's all I can say about that. Also, if it wasn't obvious before, let me say it again. Fuck Neil Gaiman. Another comic that I have is this one. This one is actively falling apart, and I'm really sad about that. This is a USSR comic called Travel Through History, or like a Exploration Through History would be the best translation. These are multiple little comics that's Lodge Place, History of the Petergailis, what's this one? Adventure with Leolis Kristaps, sure. And there's like a history of chairs. This one is the one that is actively falling apart. This one's really good. The art is really pretty. I also really like this one. This one's a lot more cartoony, and I kind of dig it. I dig it for that, and also like the plot line is a lot clearer, so that's really fun. And again, this one is falling apart, so I can't even. I have no comment on what. Oh Jesus Christ! No, it like actually comes out the. Uh-oh. This one's from 1987, so that's why. And like, look at that. Ain't that pretty? These are all done by different artists, all these comics. Like, this doesn't follow the full plot of Lodge Place, which is fine, but also, the full plot of Lodge Place is fucking long and complicated and meanders so much. Andrei Pumpur, what the fuck were you smoking? But also, this comic actually helped me keep on track when I was having to read this at school, because, again, long, meandering, kind of pointless at times, and it's written like a fucking poem. Like, those are so difficult to read, and like, the story has so much potential, but like, not like that. Me having read it and knowing the story actually made it so that I didn't forget what the actual point was, which is really mean, but also I'm not sorry. Yeah, here's like a spread. This is what the comic looks like. It's like this, and then there's the text. Not exactly a traditional comics format, but that's just what it looks like. Oh jeez, yeah, this thing is falling the fuck apart. The Petergailis one is actually really pretty. It looks like this. It looks like a woodcut, and it's gorgeous for that. And yeah, it just goes through the history of the Peterbasnitz and everything that has to do with that, and that's really cool. And all the times it burned down, so that's fun. Piedzīvojums, Lielo Kristap. It's just like, it's fun. I kind of dig the way it looks. It looks like a cartoon, and I love that. It's like this one's quite a basic children's story. So that's fun. I don't fully remember what the plot was, but I believe, what was it? What the fuck? This one's just really fun. They're like Okay, no, it makes sense because they're like revolutionarying a baron and burning down his house, which is this is the USSR that fully makes sense. And from this last comic, there's literally this one page left. So that's unfortunate, but like, yeah, it's nice, it's neat. My dad gave me this one. I also have another one from this series, Tukums, but that one was like fairy tales, and I didn't bring that one because I didn't need the lodge places, which I showed my teacher, I believe, at the time when we were reading the fucking book. So there's that. Another one from the USSR is this one, Hugo Dix. This one's also debatable on whether or not this is a comic, but I keep it there anyway. Stuff like that. They also have like little texts on certain ones, like this. My mom's boyfriend told me that this character is actually quite subversive for the time. It is like basically a double agent where they're making fun of like the what would be the best word, like kind of hippie-ish subculture from the, like, this is the 70s, I believe. Let me check that. Oh my god, no, this is 1966. Holy shit. But like at the time this was like a subversive subculture at the time, and this is kind of like being a double agent where this character was being portrayed as like a fucking dumbass, but at the same time it was like getting out in the media and stuff like that, so that's really interesting. I just thought I brought this to Riga from Tukums because this guy looks almost exactly like my mom's boyfriend, and I wanted to show them because I just thought that was ridiculously funny. And like, yeah, he does look like that, so I don't know. Okay, what else? Is there anything else beyond the series that I have? No, but what we'll do is we'll bring out the bigger books. Look at that. Oh wow, that fucked up my camera angle, but this might even be better. The Heartstopper series. Oh my goodness. I love these books so much. These are like one of my favorite things in the world. We have number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5, and waiting on 6 right now. You know, I know that these books are being published, not these books. The webtoon is being published as we speak, the 6th one, but I'm waiting for it to come out as a physical book before I read it. I have seen some of the panels. Fucking wonderful, love that. Snake Sweetheart, you're doing great. Yeah, I love these books. These are actually, what's really funny is that at one point I was on a call with my friend. He was talking about like his soon to be college experience and all the shit that's going on with him. And I was like, oh, this is exactly like Nick and Charlie. And at one point, and after I say that, bro was like, what the fuck is Heartstopper even about? And I'm like, they're just living. They're just having a good time. I will not defend myself on the topic of what is entertaining or not with someone who plays World of Warcraft. So like okay, that was really mean, but you get what I mean. I love slice of life stories. This is my shit. I'm missing like I believe two Alice Oseman books. They're over there, as you can see. Heartstopper's amazing. Read it. Love it. Watch it if you want. I haven't watched the show. But what's really funny is that in high school I had this girl sitting behind me. She was also with me in the same class in middle school, and she started watching the show. She was purposely doing like a really bad British accent and trying to get a rise out of me because I'm a fucking I'm like impulsive like that, and she did a really good job at getting me all the way pissed off, as like a joke, not like genuinely. Oh my god, I miss her so much. She was so fun. And yeah, she tried to get me to watch the show. I don't believe I will, but Zonda, you're the best. I love you. I miss you. So yes, Heartstopper, we fucking love Heartstopper. Also, fun fact, all of my journals, I actually started writing journals and decorating them like this. Because of Heartstopper. I which is ridiculous to say out loud. Which one is it? This one. On the back, I bought all of these except the fifth one all at once, and I didn't open them for like 3 months because I thought, shit, I'm going to get far too into this, and I'm not prepared, and so I didn't. But then I finally did. But before I did, I saw this, and that changed everything, and all of my journals, all of my sketchbooks look like that. It's actually ridiculous. I'm so obsessed with stickers, it's like not healthy. Um this is my journal, this is my sketchbook. There's a lot more where that came from, and we'll leave it at that because if I start going through all my sketchbooks, that's a whole nother topic. So we'll put. Oh, geez, what the hell? Okay, that's number 3, number 4, number 5. We'll put these away, and we'll do a quick run through the Tintin comics because I already have a dedicated video on that, and if you want a deeper breakdown on those, go and watch that video because if I get into these, this video is going to be twice as long. So, Tintin in America and Tintin in the Land of the Soviets, The Blue Lotus in Latvian, Cigars of the Pharaoh in Latvian, Red Rackham's Treasure in Latvian, Secret of the Unicorn in Latvian, Explorers on the Moon, Destination Moon, this time in English, Flight 714 to Sydney in Flemish. I don't know Flemish. And Tintin and Alphard in English. And yes, that is all of my comics that I own currently. I am definitely looking forward to getting more. Specifically, I really, really want to get the 6th edition of Heartstopper once it comes out. Edition might be the wrong word. 6th book of Heartstopper when it comes out, because of course. What else? Of course, I want to finish my Tintin book collection because that fucking makes sense. Oh, what else? I would probably really enjoy getting some more Asterix if that comes out in Latvian, hopefully. Um, I don't know. Probably. I. As much as Tintin is my ride or die, as in I would kill and die for the series, I would also really like to look into some more Franco-Belgian comics in general, like the person who helped Hergé write the first Tintin play. Uh, I don't remember his name. His surname was Melkebeke. He worked on Blake and Mortimer, which I've seen around because I follow this one person who posted Tintin stuff, but they're actually more interested in Blake and Mortimer, which is neat. I've also seen some Spirou, which is fun, like in context to Tintin, of course. And I'd like to see what that's about. Anything else that I'd like to? Oh yes, I would also like to get myself together and actually perhaps read Long Exposure because that's a webtoon. I would like to webtoon. That's like an app, like a web comic. That's more appropriate of a term because I have gotten panels of it and art of it on Pinterest, and I really, really like it, but I haven't actually read the thing. And what's funny is that I posted about it on my story on Instagram, and someone responded to that story being like, "Oh, because of you, I read this and I really liked it." And I'm like, "Oh fuck, okay, I did not mean that." But yes, however, I don't believe I'll be reading much for leisure because I have started college. I will have mandatory reading list. I already have a massive to read list as is. I don't know if you can see, but up there I have bought 5 Discworld books in Latvian because they were on sale and I'm insane. And currently I'm trying to read Inferno by Dan Brown. I'm enjoying it so far, but like I haven't gotten particularly deep into it because I have a lot of classes. Thank you for watching. I will hopefully get out with a video on the Tintin stage adaptations as soon as I can, once I'm done with the research and I feel like I'm on like stable ground with that. And yes, once again, thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Read comics, fan hard, live, laugh, love. Fuck yeah. I don't know.